Well, good evening, folks. Hi there, Cobb, Chloe, Majenko. Hope you're all well. Yeah, so vaguely unexpected appearance today. Majenko will be taking over later, but apparently needs a little time, or has other engagements earlier in the evening. So we'll be handing over to him around 8 o'clock. In the meantime, we shall try and finish the refurbishment of the RX50 floppy drive that we started on Saturday. Evening, Phil. How are you? And I hear, literally as my intro finished there, some replacement fuses for the VT240 have just arrived, so I shall go and retrieve those from the doormat later, and if we have time later, we'll see if the VT240 power supply comes up again with a fresh fuse in it, which I'm sure it will. It turns out it was the wrong fuse that was installed in the thing anyway. The nameplate on the thing says for 240 volt operation fit a 1 amp fast blow fuse, and it was an 800 milliamp slow blow fuse in there. So genius. The fiche says use a 3 amp standard blow fuse, but I think that's for 120 volt. Anyway, so we'll get on with the RX50. Annoyingly, actually, before we get started, let's just do a sanity check. I could not find the felt I was going to use, which is in my camera repair kit for use as light seals. So I have some other foamy, felty stuff, which will probably do, unless anybody can think of any particularly good reason not to use that. I think it doesn't need to be anything apart from checking details. I don't think it has to be anything particularly special in there, just something that the media will rotate against happily, so I think that should be fine, but we'll worry about that when we get to it. First we want to thick and furry, then it's fine. Well, it's thick and squishy and smooth surfaced, but it should be okay, I think. Right, let's get to it. I also can't find my lithium grease, which is really annoying. I think it might be switch to the secondary camera, and where's the screwdriver gone? The screwdriver is up here, right. I might be well advised to spend some of the next week or so while while Easter sort of precludes streaming because I've got family visiting, so it might be sensible to spend some of the time around Easter tidying the place up so I can actually find stuff when I'm looking for it. But that's just crazy talk. That sounds about right, Chloe. Excellent. That's what we like to see. Well, you should know by now, Majenko, I'm always talking about tidying up. Whether it ever happens is another matter entirely. Some progress on the garage at least. Right. What's this link here from Chloe? This sounds like it might be fun. Excellent, yes. Right, now, where were we? Step 1 is to remove these spring clips, isn't it, so that the top comes out, so. Let's do it that way so it's under less tension. And remove those plugs. There we go, there's the A slider thingy. Yes, I wanted to re-lube the rails, didn't I, before we put it back together, so that's good. I was just going to say I maybe didn't need to do this, but I want to get down there and make sure there is some lubrication left after I clean those rails off. Now drop that one. Oops, blimey idiot. Right. There we go. And where did that go? At least it falls straight through the mechanism and out the bottom. Why is the camera up that tall? Let's see if we can bring you down a bit. Or maybe it won't focus further down. That might be more like it, mightn't it? So there was a pulley on the bottom there that needed a dab of lubrication, wasn't there? Let's get the side panel off so we can see it better. Oh, excellent, Chloe. Was it a fun trip or just a work trip? I'm sure it was just a work trip, but work trips can be fun. I have a follow-up on the trains actually, but we'll get to that later because got some time to kill. Okay, pull that one and that one. What have I forgotten? What did the software do this time? Yes. Computers would be great if it weren't for all the software. I am forgetting something. What am I forgetting? Is there a... Yes, that one there. There we go. So we want to put some, just a drop of oil on that pulley, don't we? Where are we? Go. I'll try the bearing at the other end as well. Excellent. Do I want to drop on the hub bearing as well, do you reckon? Because it sounds a little rough. Okie doke. Just yeah, that's always fun, Chloe. There must be a fun little gearbox in there. Because obviously these are contra-rotating. I suppose it's just a... well, no, is it just a little differential? Just belt. Oh, okay, so the belt goes around. Blimey, that's a... so it goes around both of those, and they're just dead on their bearings, aren't they? Okay. Wow, that's certainly a design. Okay. So we wanted a dab of... where's the... I've got muck on my nozzle. Don't want muck on your nozzle. This is why I was using the pin yesterday, which I have dropped on the floor somewhere. Okie doke. We'll put a... right, and there's still some muck on, well, it's in the dead area of the rail where it's not going to reach, so that's fine. Apart from that bit there, I'll go back and get that with the isopropyl. Hi RF, how are you doing? Um, bit of an awkward angle to get to that spot, but I think that's got it. And we'll clean that up for good measure since we've got the swab out. Right, and we'll wind that back and forth a few times and see what happens. What happens is that the plaster that's protecting my thumb tears off because it's on the knurling on the screwdriver. Excellent. Okay. Make sure all that good. Yeah, I saw that, Chloe. I'm not entirely sure what to think. It's fine for public sites where you just pointed at Let's Encrypt or some other Acme service, but a bit of a pain for your internal infra. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to do there. Give the head a light cleaning there. I see some marks on it. What's this side? Yeah, it won't hurt to do both of those, will it? So, clean end of the swab. Yeah, wildcard certs are what I'm using for my internal infra as well, Phil. It's fine, it's just the having to automate 100 different certificate updates across. I'm running the dreaded vSphere, so of course Broadcom are going to be no help whatsoever. I don't remember seeing any sort of easy automation. It was an absolute nightmare when I tried to set it up with a self-signed cert for my own infra. Yeah, Chloe, there is a way around that, I think. I think you have to put there's a .well known thing you can serve a redirect from. Yeah, that works, Phil. I'm just thinking of things like logging into vSphere for management. I get fed up of seeing the insecure certificate, blah blah blah, all the rest of it. When I'm logging in from somewhere that isn't in Active Directories, it doesn't have access to the Office CA. Right, what was I doing? I was going to put this back together. Yeah, I think I'll put it back together and then attach the felt pads. That seems like the best plan. So, goes in this way up. Come on. Right, and this goes on the back. this way up. Okay, and screwdriver. Yeah, I think, Chloe, the answer is that the Acme servers will chase referrals. So you can put a redirect HTTP status at the .wellknown / Acme what challenge, whatever it is, that points at the HTTPS. So then when it comes along to validate it over HTTP, it gets redirected to HTTPS and it just works. I think that's the answer I've seen suggested for that situation. Because the referral is chased on the Acme server side. But I must admit my solution is somewhat jankier than that, because I have a absolutely cursed setup on one machine. What it does is it establishes an SSH reverse tunnel for port 8080, I think, from the host to a different host that is actually running the renewal process, and then from there you can specify preferred HTTP port on the renewal, and that actually works as well. But I think the redirect route is the sort of suggested best option. I shall see if I can dig out a reference for you after the stream. Won't refer. Oh, I see. So it's the right. So you can't configure a .wellknown for a wildcard vhost. Yeah, in that case, I think the preferred HTTP port option is the way to go. I shall have a look at my setup and let you know if there's anything useful in there. Because like I said, it is absolutely cursed, but it does work. Okay, right, that's that back together. Let's reattach these cables down here. Oh, I've done that already. Excellent. I think that's in the right place. We shall soon find out if it's not. Unless you happen to remember Majenko, I've got a 6-way plug that obviously goes there, and then there's a 3-way for which I've got 3 positions, and I've put it in the outermost one, which is where I'm pretty sure it came from. And we want to we'll do the felt pads now while we've got good access to it. So it's a nice clean white felt, that's always a good thing. And we want the calipers first of all, and the bit that fell out. Okay, it is 4.2 mil, that's fine. Okay, let's see if we've got a 4 mil. I think that one's a 4 mil cutter on the shiny new punch. That's about 4.5. That one will do. Okay, excellent, thanks Majenko. Wonder what the other two are then. Well, let's see what happens if we not much happens. No head-low solenoid on this one. Okay. Obviously I do not know how to use these. Well, yours might go clunk, but mine goes in a rainbow, so meh. Well, that's a horrible result. Here. Am I missing something here? I don't think I am. There we go, I think. No. It is, yes. I don't think it's a particularly good one. Either that or I simply have no idea how to use it, which is always a possibility. Does one need to wallop it with a hammer, one wonders? There we go. Find a clean pen. There's a felt disc. And how are we going to get it mounted in there? This is the B drive. Okay, so this one did have a working pad on it before. Glue, 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 glue. One moment. Well, we have glue, so that's a good start, and I just want tweezers before I go making a mess of things. Bear with me. Tweezers, where exactly they are. Contact adhesive. I don't know whether I have any on hand. Superglue may be very bad. Right, okay. Not the superglue then. What I was going to use was the old double-sided sticky tape. So I think we'll give that a go first, actually. Get rid of that dirty outer layer. Well, the tape will be fine to prove that it's... off you go there. To prove that prove the concept, I suppose. And then I can go back in and replace it with something better once I've found some better felt, perhaps. What did I want? Scissors. That has achieved absolutely nothing apart from got the tape stuck to my scissors. Yeah, this is the problem, Chloe. Let me go and investigate the glue drawer again. Okay, no, the only other glue I have on hand is this stuff, which 24-hour bond time. Remove excess immediately with white spirit, and I know from experience does not stick this particular plastic, because it's what I tried to use to repair the mounting bracket for the RAID card in my Colo server when that failed last year. So let's come up with a plan B. Well, I suppose it's more like a plan A again, but we'll take the pad, we'll stick it to the tape this time. And then we shall try and punch it out. Well, the tape is definitely sticking to something. And if anybody wanted to bet the punch, they would have won. No, Phil, I can't find it, unfortunately. I know I have some somewhere. It's in the camera repair kit for users' light seals, and it's gone to ground somewhere. I've made the mistake of trying to redecorate the front room where it usually lives. So everything is currently not there. Come on. There's got to be a way to do this. If I had had any brains, I would have bought some sticky back stuff when I was in Hobbycraft buying the punch last night, but I thought I knew where the supplies were, so... There we go. Let's try popping that in there. And there we go. That might be, if I don't drop it. It's in there. It should be okay. Yeah, hang on. Yeah, this is probably neoprene foam, so too grippy. Okay. Round hole with lines coming off it. Oh, that one there. Right, so if that foam is going to be, or felt stuff is going to be too grippy, let me go and spend a couple of minutes banging around in the study looking for that pack of felt one more time. Back in a moment. Success! It was in a box with various camera straps and a copy of IBM Drawing Assistant. I don't know why. So let's see what we've got. Let's get the drive out of the way for the time being. Whoops. And there should be some actual felt in here. So, open celled foams, they're no good. Rubber. There we go, felt. It's not particularly thick felt, but that shouldn't matter too much, should it? The other two are, yeah, these are more neoprene-like as well. And they're all foams, so put a layer of it over something thicker. Well, something thicker needs to be self-adhesive, doesn't it? Because I'm not doing that again. What? That would stack up a bit better, wouldn't it? So that's about. So the felt is. The felt's about 1mm uncompressed, but it does compress right down to about 0.6. So if I stack that on top of, stick okay to the neoprene. Well, let's have a quick look at this as well. And that's 1mm. So yeah, okay. Let's try. Well, we'll do some science. It's about 5mm thick and doesn't really compress. Well, it might have something like that. There we go. There's some 3mm neoprene. Stick the felt on top of that. Let's have a look. Section's just the right sort of thickness, so protrudes out of the body by about 1mm. Okay, let's try it on that one then. Right, so we'll stick the felt to the neoprene. Like so. I'll try and punch a couple of discs of that. Well, that almost went in one then. The white felt had a distinct, or the white foam had a distinct advantage. You could see what you were doing with it. Time is at 7 o'clock. Okay, there is. Backing's come off. There is one disc done. Where did I put the pin I was using earlier to extract? We'll fit that on the head I didn't do previously, which is side A, and see how it goes. So there we go. Now we have some felt on the bottom. Now you probably can't see that particularly well, but there is felt there, and it is just about holding in, so it'll be enough to prove that it works. If we can get drive A working, that's great. Let's remove that neoprene pouch from the other side then. And try and cut another one. I felt it right up, Chloe, that's the problem. What are the food plans then? Mine have been somewhat stymied this evening. Yeah, that's so I shall be seeing what is left in the fridge after the stream in about an hour. Right. Chicken stir fry cob, that sounds good. There's a nice chicken and cashew one I do, probably far too often. And now I want to have the bits in for that, but unfortunately I left the leftover chicken from yesterday's escapades out on the countertop overnight, so that is not getting eaten today. Oh, sausage and chips, excellent. Find somewhere to put that and get mucked up. Right, okay, so hopefully that's the heads done. So let's get these did I want to stick a little, yeah, probably do, just a clear up some gunk there. Where's there a already polluted swamp? Who knows? That sounds excellent, Chloe. Yes, I suggest you do that forthwith and report back. Oh, that wasn't gunk, it was the circlip thing for the bearing. Never mind. I feel like I will regret asking this, but what exactly is a French hot dog? This sounds like a setup for a bad joke. I mean, this is Chloe. This is obviously a setup for a bad joke, but baguette with a hole in the middle to take the sausage. So it's like a sausage roll but with baguette. Okay, I can buy that. Right, here we get to play the fun bit with the things. I want to move those wires first, don't I, so I don't crush them by accident. Bit less than to get me demonetized. Excellent. That's what we like in our foods. Oh, that reminds me. I notice I managed to hit 50 followers with yesterday's stream, which means you are getting to see System 1 at some point. But it also means I think I've now hit Twitch's thresholds for monetization. So I may have to come up with a system for adverts, so as I know when not to blather on and you get warning when they're coming. I'm thinking CSS Q dot in the top right corner, but hey. And point redeems. Oh dear. No, I can do point redeems anyway. I think. I'm not sure actually. What I can't do is, until the monetization kicks in, is cheers. I know it certainly shows me a tab about setting up point redeems. I just can't think of anything worth redeeming, frankly. I think of a silly name for my points. Well, that's probably a bad idea, knowing my silly names. But I shall have a... Come back here, you. I shall have a think. Cobb just wants more farts. Yes, well, I shall think about it. That's all I shall promise at this stage. God, these are fiddly little sods, aren't they? I mean, you can't go wrong with a good fart, to be fair, Cobb, yes. Come on. You hook under there, you little sod. There we go, I think. Balls. Is it going to be easier if I take the back PCB off, I wonder? No, you don't. I'm not dropping you this time. No, it's not. Okay. So that goes under that lip. Goes in there. Going at 90 to the plastic, then go in, oh, like that way, and then twist it round into the slot, is it? Well, I tried that previous time and then it pinged right out. definitely want that open. Right, trying a different one. Because I'm fed up with that one, it keeps falling out of my fingers. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to needle nose pliers. I saw a pair earlier. These are likely to be no better than the Leatherman, unfortunately, but it is indeed Chloe, isn't it? Right, what's annoying me here is I can't see. Okay, there's no lip on the metal, it just has to go under it. And there's the landline. Back in a moment, folks. What that standby slide needs is music. Sorry about that, folks. Right, where were we? We were wrestling with these bloody clips. Okay. We just have a quick glance through the chat. I'll just think that I'm wearing down. Hello, Spice. How are you doing? Yes, no, it wasn't. I'm afraid, Machenko. I meant to get in touch with them this week, and have not had a chance. I've got distracted tidying the garage to make room for the thing. Okay, that bit under there. Fuck it, I'm doing the other side. I'm fed up of staring at that corner. No, I'm not. I don't have the slider in place yet. Me. Yeah, man, where are you? Almost had it that time, apart from the bend it back onto, or swing it back onto into the plastic, which didn't work. Oh, not doing too badly, thanks, Spies. Bit frantic this evening, all this nonsense going on, but we are hopefully going to stop dropping these things eventually. Yeah, this. As you can, I'm going to have some coffee. That will help. I was going to say, as you can tell, I am now getting somewhat vexed at this. Lukewarm coffee I made 90 minutes ago. Splendid. There we go. Got the back end of it. Just need to clip it back into the. Yes, Cobb, that might be a good idea. I think it's the. There we go. Right. Ha. It was trying to pivot it back into the groove that it sits in that was pinging it off at the end there when it was... That one I think is one of the previous efforts just falling out. Let me double check. It is excellent. Right. Now we'll come to this one, double check and put it on the right side. Yes, good, because I would be extremely annoyed had I just spent all that effort putting it on the wrong side. There we go. Right, there's that one, and one last one. Camera. Turn the drive around to get better access to it, I think. There we go. Right, all done. Well, that was a trial, but we are there, I think. Let's double check these screws. Actually, one was a little loose, I think. Go. We'll double check looking for any loose wiring. It's all looking good. Yep. Put it back in its case. the missing screw was stuck to double-sided sticky tape. Excellent. Food made and drinks made. Excellent news, Chloe. So what time is it? It is 7:25, so we shall grab the rainbow from where it is hiding behind me. Tidy up the workspace a bit so that there is room for it. Beg pardon. Right. Oh, the VT240 is in the way. Yeah, this machine is so obstinately heavy that I notice it wobbles the camera up here half the time, which is not ideal. Oh, where's that catch? There it is. Come on, get in the plug. There we go. Come on. Has that actually gone on properly? No. That's more like it. So what do we need to do? We need to plug in the RGB to HDMI. If it's here somewhere. There we go. We need to plug in a keyboard. Like so. Get that out of the way and see if the RGB to HDMI will wake up. It's not plugged in, so no power. That should be power. Come on, why do we... Don't tell me it's killed another SD card. I should be most upset if it has killed another SD card. Let's unplug that, because that's going to the... There we go, that was it. It shares a the power supply for this is coming off the same USB hub as a RS232 adapter, which is plugged into the back of the Extron. And if the Extron is powered up before the USB power is applied, something goes horribly wrong. And it doesn't enumerate on the bus. I didn't realise it also dragged down everything else on the same hub. But anyway, there we go. So let's find the power. Power. And see what happens. That's not a good sign. Let's bring up the... Okay, that was better. It sounded like the drive motor was whirring. It's making a different noise at the moment, but let's find a floppy disk. Floppy disk. Not going to risk that one. I should label these cases, it would make it easier to MS-DOS system disk, that will do. Put it in drive. Well, let's check drive B, because we knew drive B was working. Okay, it's quieter, and it is the 15th, and it is 1934, correct. Let's put the disk in drive A. Well, that's a new error message. Write fault error reading drive A. Let's see if we can boot off it just for a laugh. Okay, that's interesting. We got further than we did last time. Last time we just got system load incomplete, which meant it couldn't load presumably the bootstrap sector. Hi Willy Can, how are you doing? No jumpers on this. It's a DEC RX50 drive, which is a strange beast. It's two floppy or two disk drives in one, two single-sided 5¼ inch drives in one, but they share a spindle motor and head sled. So It always just knows it is drives 0 and 1, I believe. There might, well, I remember seeing something in the manuals about being able to rewire it for drives 2 and 3, but no, it's 0 and 1 at the moment. Let us... hang on. Well, there's a clue. I have screwed something up with the wiring. Because when I put the disc in, the drive B light comes on, even if it's in drive A. Let's just try observing what happens if we boot off B. And there is no activity light for drive B. Well, on the plus side, we are no worse off than we were on Saturday, so this is good. Let's switch off the video capture. We'll pop the lid off and see where we are. Come on. Yeah, so the head seems okay. Presumably it just failed to seek, which is odd considering it shares a seek mechanism with the other drive, but get the drive back out and we'll have a look. So if we don't spot anything obvious wrong, I shall put this in the to look at later pile and we'll try fitting that fuse to the VT240 so that at least we have one win this evening. Having said that, I've just jinxed it, haven't I? Anyway, pop that off. Pop that off. Right, what do we have? Drive B. Well, we had no working lights, but they're attached, so I don't see why that was the case. That connector, well, that's only that's the drive B index sensor and write protect, isn't it? So that's not going to be the problem because drive B was working. The felt is still attached, so that's good. Keep wishing, Rodchenko, keep wishing. I am keeping this rainbow come hell or high water. The RD51, I mean, maybe you can have that, but I do need to figure out how to print a blanking plate for the front, because apparently you cannot run it, or if you leave it, if you pull that out, it disrupts airflow sufficiently to be a problem. Is there any reason I should not take the side panels and the rear board off at this point without removing these? Yes, because they're what's holding that end of this in, aren't they? Okay. Well, actually, no. If we leave the door flaps closed, then they should hold themselves in, I believe, shouldn't they? So let's find out. I see you're over there representing the more mature sense of humour in chat, Chloe. Oh, no. The side panels are attached to the bugger. Yes, it was indeed Scunthorpe, so I have let it through. Yes, Cobb, the side panels are attached to the front fascia, which is what's holding the sprung top and bottom bits on at the moment. So yeah, that's... Oh no, it's probably not the worst idea I've ever had, but I've got to get to this thing now. Yeah, this has to come off so that you can release the LED cabling. No, I'm going to give up on this for this evening, I'm afraid, folks. If I can get it back together. And the reason is that if I start this now, I will only have to redo all those clips again before I can eat this evening, which is not an appealing prospect. So we shall button this up and we shall move on to balls. We shall move on to the VT240 power supply fuse. That's not it. Yes, thank you, folks. I must learn to finish my sentences before interrupting myself with you lot around, obviously. Oops. Okie doke. Back in here. Actually, would it make sense? Would it make sense to try this on the grease weasel quickly? Do I have the grease weasel software installed on this laptop? All these questions and more. Get rid of that one. Have fun with that, Majenko. Right, so if that's the case, let me just bring up a terminal window, and we should be able to go GW. Excellent. Let's see if that works with the firmware that's on my grease weasel. We have light. Light is good. You can't see it because the terminal is in the way. There's my grease weasel setup, but let's random Ethernet cable. Let's get some of this out of the way. There's the 1.2 meg drive that arrived the other week. And we need this on the drive B end of the cable, I believe. Because it's not an IBM twisty thingy. Which end is likely to be pin 1? Okay, there's pin 1. So we need to turn that round this way. Yeah. And power cable. Power cable not long enough. Is now. That wasn't a good sound. Okay, fingers crossed for no explosions. I think that's the fan in the... No, that noise is definitely coming from the floppy drive. Yeah, so that's the spindle motor running continuously. I don't remember it doing that. Let's try without the cable. No, it runs even without the cable attached. Yeah, I think I need to tear this down and double check all the wiring against the reference manual now, don't I? Something is obviously not right. That is not on. There aren't any ball micro switches, are there? Yeah, I must have something wired up wrong. So we shall put it to one side for now, rather than risk anything. Now we'll get the grease weasel out of the way. I'll put these back up while I've got the thing open. Yeah, this my grease weasel imaging setup was originally designed poorly. I fabricated these brackets that a Amstrad 360k drive mounts over the top of this in its original mounting shield thing, so I can just pull it in and out of a 1640. And then on the front we have a power switch wired through to the ATX power LED and a key switch for write protect, which I always forget about when I actually, on the rare occasions I write to discs, so exciting. Let's just, got 5 minutes before Majenko time, so I'm just going to go and rescue the fuses from the front door where they are currently dangling through the envelope slot, and we'll fit a fuse to the VT240 and then hand over to Majenko if that's okay with him. But back in a second. In things that will not fit through the envelope slot news, or the letterbox. Right, I need to turn it this way before I open it so that you don't see my address. Fuses. Fuses are good. I have no idea whether I actually had the right fuses or not, but I definitely couldn't find them, so... I would recommend against Ben says he couldn't find something drinking game because, well, we all know how that will end. So we want to find a flat-bladed screwdriver for the fuse holder. You raise a good point, Chloe. Okay, you can play the drinking game if you want, but anybody on the hard stuff probably better not. This is now thoroughly stuck because I made the mistake of putting it back in without a fuse in it. Right, there we go. And we shall double check what it says on the back. Over here. It says fuse 250 volt. 3 amp for 110 to 120 volt, fast 1.0 for 220 to 240. So, .2 so there should be one over here. I just want to make sure it's the right part before I fit it, because it would be highly amusing if it wasn't. F1AL 240 volts, yes, good. Right, and we shall reattach these. We'll reattach the fan so we have some indication of life from the thing. And feed it some volts. Multimeter first. Something went pop. I see no reason for anything to have gone pop on there. Oh, it's gone 8 o'clock, so we'll just check that we're getting some voltage out of the power supply, and then I shall hand over to Majenko. So, power on. We have fan. We have 5 volts. We have 10 volts, which is actually 12 volt rail, but it doesn't come up until the 5 volt is loaded properly. And we have minus 12. Excellent. So, at least we have one repair completed. We have an RX50 made worse. We've corrected one of the issues that we introduced on Saturday, but we made another one worse. We have a VT240 power supply which is now running properly, so we shall, or I can reassemble that and get ready to demo it. Future stream, probably next week. I am not going to be streaming the rest of this week because I have family obligations tomorrow night, Thursday night, Friday night, so on and so forth. So probably see you sometime next week with the VT240 demo and hopefully the repaired RX50 if I figure out what on earth I've done wrong with the motor wiring. But thank you for joining me. Oh, hello Hot Rocks Girl. Good to see you. Sorry we're just wrapping up. So yeah, hope that wasn't too annoyingly dull for everyone, and we shall hand over to Majenko and catch you next time.